Dora has a lot of layers to her. I mean, we're obviously seeing her like 10 years later from when we're used to seeing her in the cartoon. She's a teenager now, and she's very positive, strong role model I think, for little boys and girls, and someone who really changes for no one and really stays to her true roots the entire film. My co-stars, Nick, who plays Randy, Maddie, who plays Sammy, and Bella and Eugenio. I mean, we spent, I think, the most time together, and we would just laugh. I mean, we have so many inside jokes where we could just look at each other and just start laughing. I mean, and we really had to talk to each other a lot too, which was interesting. A lot of times, like when you're on set, you know, a lot of people are just like on their phones, but we were in the jungle, I would say 70-80% of the time with no service, so we just had to entertain each other. It was cool though. Dora is not your average teenager. She's definitely very Dora, and what I mean by that is just, you know, it's kind of like a classic fish out of water scenario in a way. I mean, she has I mean, she grew up in the jungle. Her best friend is a monkey, surrounded by animals. Like, her parents are explorers. I mean, she's so smart and educated, but socially inept in a lot of ways, socially awkward in a lot of ways, and it's really funny to see. I think the real jungle would be a lot more scary, but I mean, the city is a jungle in itself. It's a concrete jungle. It's a social jungle. I mean, the kids are mean. But yeah, it's definitely scarier for Dora. I mean, because she's never been to a school. You know, she's been homeschooled her entire life. She's, you know, only been around adults and animals, and yeah, it's interesting. Diego, I mean, is completely recognizable worldwide, and so is Dora, and it's mind-boggling to me that I get to bring this to life. I mean, it's really a dream come true. Dora grows up in the jungle, and Diego moves to the city and grows up, you know, as a normal teenager would in the city in California and Los Angeles. And he, you know, when Dora comes to stay with him and comes to his high school for the very first time, I think he's just trying to be Mr. Cool, you know, like as a lot of teenagers are, just really trying to fit in and just find their place. And when Dora comes and just is completely herself, which is not okay to be in high school sometimes, it kind of just blows everything that he has been working on and going on just out of the water. Yeah, I think he's reluctant to be so open to Dora when she first comes to his high school, because I think he's just focused on the wrong things, you know? He's lost in a way, like he's just really trying to fit in, and you know, it's a very common thing for teenagers, you know, I mean, guilty, you know, like sometimes you just want to be cool, you just want to, you know, be accepted. Diego is Dora's cousin, her primo, and they, you know, if you've ever watched the cartoon, you know that they were inseparable as kids, and they were in the movie as well. They are inseparable until the age of, like, I want to say 6, when Diego moves to the city. Dora's parents are off looking for the legendary lost city of gold, Parapata, and what they don't know is that there's mercenaries, treasure hunters, who are secretly tracking them and watching them, and when they lose track of them, they go to the next best thing, which is Dora, because they know that Dora is just as smart and knows exactly where to find her parents if she needed to. So they take the trip to the city, and they essentially kidnap all of us unknowingly. They mean to just kidnap Dora, but they unknowingly kidnap all of us, and we all end up in the jungle, and from there on it's just a full-on jungle adventure. They go through a whirlwind of things together, and I think they really just realize what's important, and for Diego especially, he really, you know, gets in touch with his roots and gets reminded who he really is and where he's from. I mean, he's going back to where he originally used to live. I mean, he was a jungle rat just like Dora, and yeah, he really gets in touch with his inner true self. She impacts the lives of everyone. I mean, she just has this incredible, infectious, like, thing to her that she just, in a way, makes everyone look into themselves and really ask, like, oh, I mean, someone who can be so painstakingly authentic, I think anyone will just take a look back and say, man, I kind of want that, for myself. That comfortable, it's just she's so comfortable in her own skin. And when you're comfortable in your own skin, everyone around you is comfortable. Michael Peña, Eva Longoria, Eugenio Derbez. I mean, my favorite part was just watching these guys. These guys have been doing this forever, and they're all so funny and so quick and witty, and a lot of times it was really hard to just not burst out in laughter, around them, because they're just so quick, and they all have such great chemistry with each other, and it was really just a joy to share the screen and watch them work. I learned so much just watching these legendary, like, Latinx actors work. It's so special to me because this is something that I really grew up on and grew up with. Dora and Diego was on my TV every morning, until I was about 5 years old. Me and my twin sister used to watch it together. It really hasn't hit me yet. I'm sure it will soon. Like, when people start, like, calling me Diego in real life, I think that's when will really hit. But it's so incredible, man. I'm so lucky. All the set pieces were amazing, man. Like, the aqueduct was, like, my favorite because we just got to swim for, like, a whole week. And it was pretty hard to, it's hard to, like, tread water and then have to, like, act at the same time. Like, it's exhausting, but it's pretty cool, man. She is extremely positive and has a heart of gold. Isabela has a heart of gold. I love that girl. She's gonna be like family for the rest of my life. I know it for a fact. Even though I already, like, when I met her, she was already like it's like we knew each other already. Her and her mother, who was there with us the whole time, they just welcomed me in like family and treated me like family immediately. And I thank them so much for that to this day, because it was the furthest I'd ever been away from home. Like, Australia, it was an adventure in itself just getting there. So Dora and Isabela definitely have that in common. And there was no one better to play Dora than Isabela, because just her comedic intuition and the level of improv that she's at, she's way up here, and like everyone else is way, she's just, I don't know where it comes from, but it's incredible to watch. James has such a special touch because he's so, like, he just knows how to take something that would otherwise be so quirky and silly and just not take it too seriously, but also he just finds that perfect balance of, like, fantasy and real life, and he just finds such an interesting middle ground, and he has such great comedic timing. Like, I learned so much working with him on just timing to be funny, and just, he really had a really clear, concise vision of what he wanted to do, which is, as an actor, very relieving. I think it's important to have this version of Dora now, because I don't think it's every day that we get to see such a strong, smart Latina character who, there's no boy, there's nothing special going on. It's just her and her knowledge of everything around her and her pureness, and it's so rare and special that we get to see something like that on the big screen for everyone to see, for little boys and girls all around the world to see. Representation in general is so important. It's so important to see Black and brown characters on the big screen, or whatever it may be on the big screen. It just gives you this warm feeling that you just can't describe, of just connection and understanding, and feeling like you're being seen, and heard. I think I'm just most excited for people to just see Dora and Diego in a new light, and just to, we love a good adventure movie, an adventure comedy, and I just think people will love it. I sure hope it's something that kids and families all around the world will watch over and over again. I certainly had my fair share of movies that I watched over and over and over again every morning on VHS. So if this becomes that, nothing would make me happier. And I'm sure it will, because it's really special.
Hey, it's Lisa. Did you know that the largest number of fatalities ever in a production of a film occurred during the shooting of the 1931 film Viking? 27 people died, including the director and cinematographer, when a ship they were shooting from exploded in the ice off the coast of Newfoundland. Do you like my shirt? You can get one for yourself in the link in the description.